We're here in Orlando, Florida at Invensis Ops Manage 2010, and I've caught up with Dr. Peter Martin. He's going to be presenting this afternoon, and wanted to catch up with him on some topics related to automation. One of the things that I heard recently in another interview I did was the contention by some people within the industry that automation really doesn't offer any return on investment. Now, obviously, that's a position that I would disagree with, but what do you see when you're in your travels and you're talking with customers? What is the attitude about automation and the kind of ROI that it actually brings in a real-life context?
Well, that's an interesting topic, Peter, because the reality is automation can add a lot of value. It doesn't always, but it can. And what I mean by it doesn't always is what we've noticed over the past 20 years is there's a lot of brownfield re-automation going on. And if you re-automate a brownfield facility by putting a new automation system in that does exactly the same thing that the old automation system did, then it's not going to add the value that it could add. And I think a lot of people see that, but the real issue, though, is the measurement systems that are in place. The cost accounting systems that most industrial companies use today are not set up so that you can see the benefit that you get from automation. So even if we were to add benefit, and by the way, our experience is that an automation system utilized effectively can add more benefit to the bottom line of a company than almost any other investment they can make. But even if that's happening, if the finance people can't see it, if it's not visible, if at the end of the project, the head of accounting at the plant comes in and says, I don't see any change in the bottom line of the plant as a result of this automation, or maybe there's a change, I can't tell it's as a result of the automation. Well, finance people tend to be skeptical. And if they don't see the value, then in their minds it never happened. So we are going around. When we talk to clients, we do find some clients that question the value of automation. Our belief is that automation applied correctly and fully adds tremendous value. And if we can put measurement systems in that will allow you to baseline the value before you actually do an upgrade or a project, will allow you to see what the value change is when the automation system comes live, you'll be able to see the value that it adds. And it requires a fundamental change in cost accounting. Cost accounting is done monthly today. In any plant, so many changes take place in a single month, you can't attribute the value either gained or lost to any one of them. In a given month, there may be 2,000 things, including some automation things that have happened. Which one of those added value? Which one of those took value away? If you can't tell specifically what they are, then the accounting people never attribute any value to the automation system.
If a company is contemplating some sort of automation upgrade, and they're trying to decide where are the things or how much benefit could we expect to gain if we do some improvements, how are they actually going to be able to get some sense of the order of magnitude of what's available to be saved?
Well, that's a very difficult question as well, because we haven't been measuring the financials, the economics of automation system. We haven't measured them. And because we haven't measured them, we don't have a whole lot of baseline data to do good projections on. And I think it puts the automation companies in a very difficult position, because the automation companies today, all automation companies, have talent, a really good talent at figuring out how to use this technology to drive bottom line results. But most of the time, what we get is a request for a proposal, and by the time you get the RFP, it's done. It's written in stone. You can't change that. You can't negotiate it. At that point in time, it's a battle for who has the least costly system to meet that RFP. And when you think about it, if we go back in to a client and we say, look, we can meet the RFP, but we can also do these 4 additional things. And we believe if you do these 4 additional things, it'll drive $2 million to your bottom line, giving you 100% return on your investment in 8 months or whatever the thing is. The response we get typically is, good, go ahead and do them. By the way, if your system costs 1 penny more than your competitor's system, we're buying their system. And we say, wait a second. I just showed you that I can give you an ROI in 8 months. And they said, yeah, but I'm a project team. I'm a head of a project team. I'm only measured on time, on budget delivery. I'm not measured on the economic results that happen in the plant. So we're in this vicious cycle as an automation industry where the project teams, who are very good technologists, define the problem. And once they define the problem, it's out of the hands of the automation supplier to a large degree in improving the system. What we're doing is we have a team. I head up a team at Inventus. We go in after the fact. Once the automation system is in there, whether it's our system or competitive system, we'll go in after the fact, and we notice that most automation technology, and this is kind of a bogus number, but I'll use it anyway, are utilized somewhere between 30 and 40%. And when I talk about utilization, I'm talking about both capacity and functionality. That means that most of our clients install technology that is way underutilized. The project team moves on to the next project. The people left in the plant don't know how to use this technology, and it sits there for 20 years underutilized, and then it gets replaced. So what we do is we go in and use the technology that's there. We put a real-time accounting system in so that we can see the economic impact of using this technology effectively. And I got to tell you something, and I mean this. I don't believe that there is anything an industrial company can do to drive more bottom line value to their operation than utilizing the technology that they have in place, or if they're buying a new system, utilizing it to drive bottom line. The results are there. It's clear. When we measure it, the results are great. The problem is without the measurement system and with the current project team mentality, on time, on budget mentality, we're not getting the results out of the automation that we could be getting.
When you're talking to a new customer or a prospect in one of these contexts, what do you use the baseline, the anticipated savings that you think you can get on a project based on some of these improvements?
Okay. It's much, much simpler than we initially thought it would be. When you look at the real-time components of business that are impacted by automation, it really boils down to three fundamental issues. One is increasing the production value produced by the plant. Each plant is producing something that has value, and the production value is the actual objective for having built the plant. You can measure that. That's a measurable. The second one is reducing the energy cost, and the third one is reducing material costs. We really don't have to talk too much about headcount anymore, because over the past 20, 30 years, we've reduced so many heads that there's nobody left to cut. So if you look at those three variables, those are the three things that automation should impact. Now, we as automation suppliers have actually misled the industry by accident. It wasn't intentional, by focusing on the cost of the automation system rather than the impact of the automation system. If you look at any capital investment, you have a cost of the investment. In theory, you have a benefit that's driven from the investment. We've looked at life cycle cost, and we said, oh, we can give you the lowest life cycle cost and all that. Well, when you look at the cost of automation versus the potential benefit, it's 1,000 to 1. Benefit over cost. Why are we focused on the cost of automation? We should be focused on that 1,000, not the 1. And what we do is we'll go through the plant and we'll do a theory of constraints analysis using the modified Elihu goal rate approach, where we go through and we look at the bottlenecks in the plant. And if you free a bottleneck up, how much incremental production value can it create? How much reduction in energy costs will you get? How much reduction in material costs will you get? All of those are measurable. And so we'll project that, and we can actually come up with some pretty solid metrics of what the benefit could be. Now, we're engineers, Peter, and engineers are conservative. So far, and we've done, almost 100 of these different types of engagements, so far we've never once hit the projection that we've given. We've usually been about double, because we're conservative, but it's always better to come in with a conservative number and then go from there. What we find is if we can go in unconstrained and we can bring to bear the intellectual property of the talent that we have in these companies, our average 100% return when you put the measurements in place and then do an improvement is coming in at 6 to 8 weeks. By the way, there's no investment our clients or industry companies can make today that's going to give them a better return than that.
Thank you, and always good to talk to you. making a presentation this afternoon, right?
I'm having a roundtable this afternoon, a presentation tomorrow, a presentation Wednesday, and another one Thursday morning. So I'll be a little busy this week, but it's always a pleasure to talk to you, Peter.
You're busy. Good to get some time for. Thank you.
It's a pleasure. Thank you, Peter.